everyone, I'm rinorumi, and I don't know if that cut in properly, but it's been a while since we've reacted to a Homo Labs video. Now, I've taken a bit of a back burner when it comes to recording Honkai Impact lore videos, mostly because I wanted to take a break from it and kind of try to get to where I can continue playing Honkai Star Rail, because a lot of them were connected, and I'm very far behind in the story. You can catch us on Sundays when we actually, play the game over here on YouTube. We do live stream it in the mornings. However, there has been a overlining thing that has been told to me several times by friends, and from what I've seen on the internet, which is Honkai Star Rail's Amphoreus stories very long, very bad. And where I'm at right now in the story, I don't really know how I feel about it. So, Homo Labs made a video. We're going to check it out. We're going to see how bad it is. If there's spoilers in it, I have no idea. But please, please, please go check out Homo Labs in the description below as well. Also, I have been messaged on Discord, it looks like. Goodbye. No, I'm going crazy. Anyway, shall we begin with our Honkai Impact video? Or Honkai Star Rail video, excuse me. So, I hope you will see what this is all about. See what people have been whining about. I don't know if this is any good or any bad. I have no idea.
Amphoreus, the land of black screens, static camera
There's a lot
angles,
of
endless
black
puzzles,
screens.
and rice. Look, despite
What's wrong with her?
online,
I like her.
I love Amphoreus. It cures my insomnia. Joking aside, I really do love Amphoreus, but I think that the criticism that the people bring up for the game are valid. So, before we get into the thick of it, let me put up a short disclaimer. This video is my subjective perspective and not an objective review. My intention is to present my own biased perspective and explain why I enjoyed Amphoreus despite all its flaws. Nothing is flawless in this world, except for today's video sponsor, Opera GX.
Bro, that scared me. Yo, his Opera GX sponsor scared me there.
Opera GX for sponsoring this video. Have you grown tired? That also includes of Opera GX is how much you can customize it by going animated wallpapers like this many other
Alright, now here's the okay, we're talking about passions and kitchens today, but the real ad of today, anyway.
Fonted icons and many more. Like this awesome custom splash screen you can enjoy every time you open the you want. Not only that, to make some other future that you are watching from your browser into a episode of Apothecary Diary to switch your routine that lets you and out on GX today.
How long is this ad? Oh my god. My man, you know what? Fair enough. He glazed them long and hard. But
allow me to talk a little bit about Penacony. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, you already know, but I did not enjoy Penacony. You may have noticed that they stopped making videos on Honkai Star Rail altogether, and Penacony was the reason behind that. I didn't vibe with the atmosphere, aesthetics, characters, and the overall feel of the world.
I liked Penacony. I think Penacony was okay. Like, right now, there's a lot that I didn't like when it came to Sunday.
In fact, the story was one of my smaller
but he's a good character
with Penacony.
to a certain degree.
I think the story was fine, with some very good moments here and there, but the overall presentation and pacing made getting through it very difficult. Not to mention that my health issues started to kick in more and more, so my motivation to put up with it decreased a lot during that period. Honkai Impact 3 Part 2 also released at the same time, and my condition kinda forced me to choose one because I couldn't keep up with both. So I chose Honkai Impact 3 because I vibed a lot more with the characters and the world. But back to the point, I wasn't a fan of Penacony, and I feel like this will be a problem with HSR for me in the future because I'm very much the type of person who needs to vibe with the setting of a story to enjoy it. But with each planet having such a different feel from the others, I run the risk of each new world not being my cup of tea, and
that's fair.
my enjoyment of the game will always hinge on do I vibe with the current word? But yeah, I eventually went through
I gotta agree with him because I was the same way when we were on the Lawfu. When we were on the Lawfu, I didn't like the Lawfu. I thought the Lawfu was lame. I still think the Lawfu is kind of lame. But hey, what can you do? You gotta pay tribute to the Chinese somehow. Rolls eyes, blinks a little. Jesus Christ. Uh,
story of Penacony when I felt better, but I still wasn't the biggest fan of it.
It's like my main problem in all these gotcha games.
Now, one thing you should know about me is that I love Greek mythology. So
Based
from the
and
start,
real.
Amphoreus had a major advantage over Penacony for me. In fact, I knew that I would enjoy this new world unless whoever did something very bad to mess it up, which they didn't. At least not for me. From the very first moment we arrive on this planet, the stakes were already pretty high.
Yeah, everything
Our
is
train
engraved
carriage was
in
shot
like
down
just
from the
craziness.
sky. We found ourselves stranded without any means to contact the rest of the express. As we traveled through the first ruin where we landed, we were constantly transported between the past and the present, witnessing the people who once lived there, instilling a sense of both urgency and curiosity. Shortly after, we meet Finan and
No, he had the same reaction I did. No, bro, he's engraced me in my brain, bro. Then we found Kevin. There he is. Points at Kevin. There he is. It's Kevin. Is Kevin? Uh. He's asking me what video am I recording. Took too long.
Tribi, and learn more about the
Wait.
situation they
Oh,
are in.
because all the
Amphoreus
characters
is
here
on
are
the
based
verge
on
of
different
dying
characters.
with
True,
its
true,
own
true, true, true.
deities, the 12 Titans, turning against humanity after being corrupted by a mysterious force.
Hang on. Hang on, let me... Oh, wait, are you wanting to join me? Vivi? Said, are you wanting to join me? I'm already, like, 5 minutes in, but I could share my screen if you're wanting to join.
You're already 5 minutes in.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait, how long's the video?
21 minutes.
Oh boy.
Do you want to join? It's just talking about Amphoreus. I mean, I ain't gonna have time to set up the Vroid or the VTube studio, but you know, I can make it to where you're in here if you're wanting to be a part of it. I was waiting all day for you, by the way.
Sorry. I don't know why I'm so tired though.
You're just tired being.
I woke up around what, 7?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden when I was working a commission, I started feeling very dizzy for some reason.
You gotta quit staying up like you are.
I didn't stay up late though. I went to bed the same time you went to bed.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
So pretty much right now he's just explaining why he didn't like Penacony, and most of it was an ad right here. Yeah, he explained why he didn't like Penacony. There's a big ad right here, and then he's explaining why.
Third on perspective on for because okay, so
yeah.
Okay, let's see. I hope to spoil it because I don't think you like finished Amphoreus.
I haven't. If there's spoilers, and I already said this at the beginning of the video, it is what it is. I want to see why people don't much care for this story because so far, from what I've seen, you know, where I'm currently at in the story, Mighty's considering taking on the godhood or whatever after we pulled our boy out of his ascension.
His trial.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the part where he actually got the core, I think that's already been done because like Fion hasn't gone after you guys want to like fight a god or Nikador. I think that's what
we already fought Nikador.
Yeah, so that's the god that you already fought, and Mighty decided to go back home.
Yeah, and I'm currently in a forest.
A forest?
Yeah, I'm just now in a forest. There's a big tree.
I don't think there's a forest. That's just
there's
like
a big tree. I'm
Yeah,
in the
it's the
grove of Amphoreus.
Yeah, you're gonna find another character named well, you already know who he
Oh,
looks
I
like
already
anyway.
already like him. Yeah, chat told me about it today. They're like, "Oh, it's the guy with the gun and an eye patch or whatever." And I was like, "Oh, you
Yeah.
mean the alchemist guy?" Yeah, no, I'm already hyped for that because of how Aglia was fucking describing him. Like, "Oh yeah, no, he's just gonna like tear it down and walk off with it." I was like, "Yo." Anyway,
You didn't pull for
Force
him.
known as the Dark.
yeah, I wonder why didn't I pull for him, Vivi?
I don't know.
You do know.
I don't know. I
Because I
forgot.
was saving up for the fake character.
Oh,
The fake
oh
character.
yeah.
I was saving up for the fake
I
character.
don't even know when that's gonna come out.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
excited, but I was like, when is it coming out?
yeah. Nobody knows when it's coming out. That's why when the next banner drops and the cat girl comes out, I'm pulling for the cat girl.
I mean, she's coming in about like a few days.
Oh, I know.
Which looks very
Hey.
similar to the corruption from the Sea of Data on Mars. But that's another
Okay,
story.
okay.
Then we learn about Akema, the last human city where the light still shines, protected by Kephalis, the war-bearing titan. We make our way there only to be caught in the middle of an attack from Nikador's forces, who is the titan of strife, basically Amphoreus' version of a god of war. Think of Ares.
Okay.
We get introduced to the other Chrysos heirs in Okema, Ginger Cowpass, Apoidon, and finally I like Chryse, she's cute. And then we have
Damn.
fine and deal with Nikador, only to find out that this wasn't Nikador's real body. After this, things slowed down. And when I say slow down, I mean they really slow down. This is where the story starts to show its cracks. Nonetheless, I still enjoyed it very much. I am very much a lore-oriented person, so I
enjoyed
didn't
it
mind the
too.
slow pace, lackluster presentation.
Like
and what
I like
felt
the
like
slow
an endless
pace of
array
it. It
puzzles.
makes you like it just like it doesn't rush through things. That's what I like about it. Yeah, it's slow. People are like trying to get through the story. Like
Oh yeah.
I
People
don't
want to
know
get
why
through.
they don't like it. I probably don't know the reason. I've been seeing a lot of people actually liking the story.
My main reason for not liking it right now is just the fact that there's so many so much text that needs voice lines.
Well, that is part of it. That's why I
Yeah.
changed it to a Japanese voice because obviously
Yeah, but
that.
it's crazy how even if I switched it to Japanese, I'd still have to be reading the subtitles, Vivi.
Yeah, but you still be hearing the voice even though it's in a different language. I can understand a bit of it since I'm still learning Japanese myself.
Dipper Pine Sock Puppet.
But
I think it's so far from what I have read in the story when I do play, I've enjoyed so far I'm enjoying Mighty's character development. Just the idea like that where I'm at, the character himself, he's going through a lot. He's like, what do I do for my people, for the future of my people? He's trying to think about not just himself.
yeah, that's what I like. He's selfless. He thinks about others. But the story, I've already finished it. Cried, and shaking right now because I'm waiting for like the next patch to come out.
Much of the time, my eyes are glued to the text anyway, and to be honest, I don't even look at the characters or what's on the screen that much. And when it comes to lore, setting, and characters,
I'll be honest, Nikador, even his boss, I get annoyed fighting him.
I didn't get annoyed as much as I thought Sunday.
Hard to mess up the lore when you use ancient Greek mythology as
True,
a foundation
he's right.
for your setting. My biggest worry going in was that Hoyo would make the story too confusing and convoluted to understand, which is typical for the Honkai series, unfortunately, but that wasn't the case at all. I agree that the story had some pacing issues, and there were indeed moments where I was like, okay, do I really have to do this? Especially when we were just strolling around in Okema and talking with all the NPCs, but after we went to Castrum Kramnos with Maidi and Finon, I felt like the story progressed buttery smooth. The characters are also very intriguing and full of potential, from the caring yet skeptical and protective Aglaya, to the mysterious and earnest Tribi, the tsundere Maidi, and Kesteris, who was one of the characters I'm most interested in to learn more about. Her entire connection with Thanatos and the fact that a part of her is literally missing are great setups for the future. Finan also reminded me of young Kevin, and we all know what
Kevin.
happened to him. Something tells me that we won't see this aloof and goofy side of him for long. All in all, I loved Amphoreus. It was a great introduction to the story, and I cannot wait to see more.
We don't cut corners.
Chickens! As you can
Hard
see
to
here,
find
chat.
with all
I
this
mean,
space.
dear viewers, this is about chickens and eggs.
You can't guard me?
As you can see here, this is a ad about playing basketball way too late at night.
Looks like you're stuck with
And then your mom calls us. Sorry. Anyway.
Another
Honkai
aspect,
Impact Third.
besides the lore and world building that contributed to my enjoyment of Amphoreus is the fact that I also play Honkai Impact Third. Yes, that's right. I'm a true Honkai player. I am built different.
And I'm not.
Better. I'm superior.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
I always said that while playing Honkai Impact 3 is not required to understand and enjoy honkaistarrail, it definitely enhances the experience. It's similar to how playing GGZ before Honkai Impact 3 offers a richer
Gun Girl
experience
Z.
because you're already
I played
familiar
Gun
with
Girl
some of
Z,
the
which is
character
crazy.
variants and thematic elements of the story.
I will
For
never unlive the fact that I have played Gun Girl Z and had no clue that the two were connected. That to me still baffles me because I played that on my phone years ago.
Your phone can actually hold games.
Yeah, back in the good old
Files.
days.
I've heard about Gun Girl Z, but I was interested in other games for some reason. And then back in 2016, there was like Honkai Impact. I was like, ooh, I'm interested.
I remember when Honkai Impact came out, I just couldn't play it. My phone couldn't
Yeah.
handle it.
That's fair.
example, one big hurdle many people face when diving into a new story is getting to know the characters and forming attachments to them. Well, having played Honkai Impact 3, that hurdle was much easier for me. The moment we met Finan, I was hit with a wave of nostalgia because of my previous experience with Kevin. It made it so much easier for me to get attached to Finan and the new cast. Do not get me wrong, I'm not saying that Finan is Kevin, no, but my past experience with Kevin and the Flame Chasers made it easier for me to connect with Finan. The same goes for Mem, who bears a striking resemblance to ELF Elysia. While some people might struggle to care about this weird furry pet,
I still think that Mame is actually just fucking March 7th. Quote me, I could be wrong. I think Mame is a manifestation of March's dreams being given to us. I'm calling it. She acts too much like March. Now that she can talk. Ever since she started being able to talk, she sounds like March. Her mannerisms are very Marchy.
Instantly felt a connection based on my time with Elysia and Elf Ellie. Mem's connection to Cyrene felt more apparent to me because of those past experiences. And all of these are little things that the people who've only played HSR might not have, which can make easing into the story and characters a bit harder for them. Similarly, the overall story of the Flame Chasers in Honkai Impact 3 closely parallels the flame chasing journey of the Chrysos heirs in HSR. Not to mention that there are a lot of additional parallels between Amphoreus and the ongoing story in Honkai Impact 3 Part 2 that happens on Mars. Now, I'm going to dive into some spoilers for Honkai Impact 3 Part 2, so if you're not up to date,
I'm
please
not.
skip to this time.
So let's go.
In Chapter 5 of Part 2, Kiana meets with a Memo Keeper inside a dream.
Oh?
The Memo Keeper explains that just like Amphoreus, the world of Honkai Impact 3 is hidden from the rest of the universe and can only be seen through the mirror of the Garden of Recollection. This similarity immediately fired up my neurons and put me in overdrive. While going through Amphoreus and piecing together its lore, I was also drawing connections to Honkai Impact 3. For example, one popular theory is that Amphoreus is already gone, and what we're experiencing is essentially a simulation made possible by the Remembrance to uncover the history of the world and how it was destroyed. This is the exact same plot in Honkai Impact 3 Part 2. Mars is long dead, and the events we're experiencing now are part of a simulation designed to replay historically accurate events. Our goal is to go back in time and witness the demise of a long-lost civilization.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So I was constantly looking for clues about the true nature of
Okay, so,
Amphoreus that could help me better understand.
I haven't played Honkai Impact in quite a while, and I've already been seeing like new characters. Is there like a new main character in the
I
Honkai Impact?
I don't know. He's explaining some stuff right now. Apparently, it takes place on Mars, but Mars doesn't exist. There's a simulation.
The
I'm
Mars
sure one of
simulation
your
in
viewers will
Honkai Impact
explain
Third
it.
and vice
If
versa.
there's like
And
a
this is only
new two main
possible
characters,
because I
because
played both games and Hoyo likes to make thematic parallels between them.
Hey, it's me, your skin under here.
All right,
your
this is
itchy
clearly
flaky
about
scalp.
your flaky
I'm
scalp.
craving relief.
You need to get some
New
danger
CeraVe
shampoo.
anti-
You're welcome. The bad. All right. Okay.
I honestly think that the hate this patch is getting on the internet is overblown. But I do recognize that it's not a perfect patch either, and all the people who criticize the storytelling and put out their concerns and feedback are valid. So let me also address some of the things that I believe that could improve. First and foremost, the presentation. The presentation and storytelling in HSR were never great. We just got to a point where more and more people are starting to notice this. Fixed camera angles with very little movement that can last for minutes, an overabundance of black screens, and many more. Many times, Honkai Star Rail felt more like a visual novel, and this wouldn't be a problem if the game would present itself as a visual novel, but it doesn't.
I usually
It came
use
out with a
the
dynamic
Herda just to
cinematic
find chests in
presentation
that
that
area,
makes use of
because my
multiple
chest
camera
is
angles
hard.
and the 3D environment. You have to understand that when you choose to present your story this way, your story is closer to a cinematic experience, aka a movie, rather than a visual novel, and it needs to be presented as such. On the other hand, if you use the visual novel style of presentation, you are closer to a, well, novel. So the overabundance of descriptive text is necessary to present the actions because you don't have the camera angles and the complex 3D environments to showcase it. And I feel like this is the biggest problem with
I'm sorry. I'm reading what it said. You're now.
Trust me, bro, I'm not lazy. I just ran out of a budget to finish the editing of this video.
You're now looking at some amazing B-roll of the Trailblazer walking around the city and talking to the people. I'm not lazy. Damn. I mean, yeah, that is what
HSR's
Star Rail does.
presentation. They're trying to write
Oh,
a visual
God.
novel while the game is built on a cinematic style of
I'm a
presentation.
6K
which
to one
just
video
do not
every
match
6 weeks.
well and create
Give
an
me some
awkward
leeway.
experience for the player. Another reason why I think that people are more
Just
upset
quality
with Honkai
editing.
Star Rail
Maybe
now
consider
is because
High quality
feature
editing,
games
maybe
like Wuthering
consider
Waves
subscribing,
2.0
huh?
and Zenless Zone Zero have better
Based.
story presentation and pacing. The standard for what is expected from a gacha game was literally raised. Wuwa's story presentation is very cinematic, with a lot of dynamic camera angles that add to the
Hey,
dialogue
Wuthering
and
Waves.
immerse the player. And yes, while all games make use of the infamous black screen, yes, even Wuwa and ZZZ, they use it to showcase a moment that really can be animated or is redundant, like the passage of time, or the fact that character X communicated to character Y an information that the player already knows. Meanwhile, Honkai Star Rail uses it just to cheap out on time. Even Honkai Impact Third, a game way older than HSR, has a much better presentation in the latest chapters. In fact, I consider Honkai Impact Third
Yeah, that's
right
fair.
now to have the best cinematic experience among all the Hoyoverse games. Not counting ZZZ since they are using the visual novel style and the comic book style and they don't really do cinematic camera movements. But if you don't believe me, here, look at these segments from HSR 3.0 and the latest story chapters in Honkai Impact Third and tell me if you see a difference.
Okay, Star Rail. Okay.
If you continue brandishing your weapons, you won't only be putting yourselves in the crossfire. Their
Whoa.
blooming blades will come
What?
down on the heads
What?
of the
Style?
innocent.
Yeah, it's boring. Oh, and then Dunhung doesn't talk. God damn it!
It's difficult to tell if you're friend or foe when you appear out of thin air. Yes, Treeby acted with haste. This is Marmorial Market, the most important residential and living area in the Holy City. Pushing through by force would undoubtedly result in needless casualties. But now our backup is here.
Lord Finon and the two guests. Welcome to Akama.
Guard your
Oh,
peace.
it's
You know
Akuma.
me?
No, it was Okamiya.
No, it's Akuma. It's Akuma.
I was saying it wrong this whole time.
Really? Mm.
Miss Castorus?
I thought you reading it in Japanese would help. Sorry. Yeah, look at this camera angle. This is such a good camera angle. Wait, what?
お前は一人目ではないし、
Mm-hmm.
最後の一人でもない。
あんたが私の唯一の友達を殺した。私の全てを奪ったんだ。リトスト、その代価を必ず払ってもらうよ。
お前にそれ
I ain't got a clue what's going on, but this is a bet.
喜ばしい。
Yeah,
残念
from
な
a storytelling perspective, this is such a better camera angle. What the fuck?
No
お
spoilers.
前にはその能力も
I haven't got that far yet.
Plug your ears then.
それがあんた
No,
の
no.
Then
You
back
already
to
got me
her.
interested.
私の矢に狙われてる。
Bro, the camera angles are so good. And then, okay, that makes sense. Fade to black as
あ
you
の
shoot.
方がいつか私たちを紹
Okay,
介
okay.
して、この祈りと敬意に耳を傾ける
Being
こ
an
とを
older
待
game,
つ
they have
あの方
experience.
が私たちの願い、意志、そして塔を登っても変わらぬ真心に目を向けるのを待つの。そして
Bro, I have no clue what's going on in the Impact
永遠
story.
という拷問を終わらせてもらう。
Oh, goodbye.
Bro! This is actually really cool, wait!
Oh, God.
Oh, damn! Oh, as you can see, this is the Hulk, but pandering, Anyway.
外で会おう。バカ。
God
I
damn.
swear to God, guys, this is
Look
not
at
just me
that.
trying to shield
The
Honkai
clouds-
After Part 2,
the
which you
clouds
should
party that
definitely go and play, by the
side.
way. The latest chapters have been really good and the story ramped up a lot ever since it started. So, what's the issue here? Why is Honkai Star Rail so hell-bent
I feel like
on
they don't know
telling
what they're
its
doing with
story
their characters
this way?
in
Is it
Star Rail.
greed? Incompetence? I honestly don't think
In
so.
Star
Hear
Rail?
me out. When I first saw that
Yeah.
the story of Amphoreus will last until
what it kinda feels
3.8,
like.
I was very happy. Why? Because I thought that they wanted to make the story quests shorter, in better paced and presented increments, rather than make 8-hour-long quests to have it done in 3 patches. But it looks like I was wrong. Look, this is not me saying that there is something wrong with long story quests. I do not mind them. In fact, give them to me. The longer the story, the better. But I don't want longer story quests when the price we pay for them is the presentation and the overall pacing.
True.
I want 10-hour story quests, but I want good 10-hour story quests in all aspects. And while I think that the 3.0 quest was good from a lore and character perspective, I felt like Hoyo sacrificed the quality of the presentation for length. This is
It's kind of like when you're watching Invincible and you're like, yeah, the story, I'm here for the story. But boy, would it be nice if the animation looked better, you know? So the presentation could be looking better, is kind of the overarching argument, it feels like. Which I get.
What was it? The Invincible story is pretty good.
Yeah, but the presentation is kind of sloppy in some areas. You know? They even call it out in one of their episodes, you know? I know
Wait,
you've
the
seen
creators or the viewers?
the creator slash animators, VV.
Oh, they called
Yeah,
out.
when Mark goes to Comic-Con in season 2, they talk about how they use certain tricks to use animation to make it look like they're not moving their mouth flaps, you know, like facing the back of that person's head, or when you're making somebody move, you're just dragging them along. They talk about it. They know what they're doing, but I mean, when you have such a small team, and maybe that's it. Maybe Star Rail has a small team right now. That could be it. I don't know. I'm not them. It just feels like there's a lot of areas, at least from where I'm at right now, right, in the story, it feels like a lot of areas could have been done better. Like when I went to say Finon in his trial, I felt like I could have seen more, you know? I feel like there was a lot there that could have been worked with, and either was cut or we're just not allowed to see. I don't know. That's just,
Be a perspective
you know.
that people will maybe disagree with me, and that's fine. But no matter how much money and manpower you have, a 6 weeks patch cycle is not enough to properly tell a 10 hours story. So the only solution I see is stop doing 10-hour story quests if you cannot properly deliver on them. Make them 3 to 4 hours at most and use that extra time to work on the presentation and make sure that the storytelling is on par with the story and the lore. This, again, reminds me of Honkai Impact 3rd. When part 2 of Honkai Impact 3rd started, the community had a very similar reaction. Chapter 1 of part 2 suffered from many issues that people complain about in Amphoreus now. Although I do think that Amphoreus was better paced and the story was easier to understand, but they all suffered from this common virus of they were just too long, so the pacing and presentation felt flat. So, from Chapter 4 onwards, the Honkai Impact 3rd developers took note of the complaints and chapters were reduced from 5 to 7 hours to around 3 hours each. This brought massive improvements for the story.
Stop, you gotta stop, you can't keep getting away with this.
This is what I think that Honkai Star Rail also needs. Again, I don't hate long story quests, but I do think that a 6 weeks patch cycle is enough to tell a long story quest at the standard of quality that many modern gacha games push today, regardless of budget and manpower. So my advice for the Honkai Star Rail devs is try to shorten things a bit and use that extra time to polish all the aspects of the story. Other issues I can point out are that the graphics looked wonky in some places. While some areas were breathtaking,
some places were very beautiful.
Others looked so unpolished that you'd think they came out of a PS1 game. And also the music. While not bad, I found Amphoreus' soundtrack pretty forgettable, which is a real shame given the potential of the setting. All in all,
the other soundtrack with the girl with the pony
3.0 is a solid 8.
Like when you go help her fight the other gotchas to get the core.
Wouldn't know nothing about that.
God, the music for that other god, it gave me chills. I can't explain the feeling, but I was like, I can't stop listening to this.
My personal rating is very subjective. If I were to be objective, it would be much lower. I also do think that the hate is a bit overblown, but I also agree with a lot of criticism and think that Hoyoverse can definitely do better. I'm here for the long ride and cannot wait to see where this story goes.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it's going.
Amphoreus. Am I right, guys?
Huh? I just wanted to see how it ends.
Alright. Well, that has been our boy Homo Labs, and a last-minute edition of VV. I grab her and shake her around.
Yeah, sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
Very tired.
Me and Eli were waiting for you for the longest time when it came to watch Punch Punch Forever. So now we're gonna have to watch it another time.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. But anyway, guys, that has been this video of Homo Labs. And yeah, for the most part, I think if anything, the Star Rail story just needs a little bit of polish. I mean, the story's a bit of a slog to get through right now. But I mean, I'm enjoying myself ultimately, which is all I can ask for, you know?
You just see me on the ground in a fatal form. Already finished the entire story.
Yeah, BB's already finished it. And I'm happy I didn't get spoiled on anything new in this video, so that's always good.
I got spoiled with the Honkai Impact part. I didn't think I got
and nobody got spoiled on anything. Anyway, that was it for this video. Hit that like and subscribe button. Check out Homo Labs in the description below. Also check out my friend VV in the description below as well. Thank you guys so much. Hope you hit that like and subscribe button. And if you don't, I don't care. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Aren't you happy you didn't get spoiled?